Even after,
We're good.
after
You're
your
good?
last.
Yep. Okay, council, I'm gonna call this meeting to order at 6:01 PM. And I'll hand it over to Deputy Mayor Becker. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. The Council Corporation Township of Hornepayne would like to begin by respectfully acknowledging that the land on which we gather here today is Treaty 9, 1905, 1906 territory. That the original lands are indigenous peoples. As we work toward reconciliation, may we all live with respect on this land and live in peace and friendship with all its diverse peoples. Thank you.
Thank you. And item number 3 is review and note any changes to the agenda. So there are several additions here to our agenda. You can see them there. And I will be giving some extra time, council, for some reading as we go through the meeting. And if I can get a mover and a seconder to approve the agenda as amended. Moved by Councillor Peter Kistemaker, second by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that council does hereby approve the agenda as amended. Those in favor? And that is carried. Declaration of pecuniary interest, declaration of conflict of interest. I don't have any paperwork for that now, but council at any time throughout the meeting, if such a situation arises, you can declare. So moving on to the adoption of the minutes. If I can get a mover and a seconder for September 10th. Moved by Councillor Peter Kistemaker, second by Councillor Drago-Stefanik. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of Township of Hornepayne does hereby adopt the minutes of the regular meeting of council held on Wednesday, September 10th, 2025 as distributed. Any comment or addition to those minutes? There be to vote, those in favor, and that is carried. And moving on to 6.2, the special meeting of council held on September 17th. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker, second by Councillor Drago-Stefanik. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby adopt the minutes of the special meeting of council held on Wednesday, September 17th, 2025 as distributed. Any comment or addition to those minutes? There being none, I put those to a vote. Those that are in favor, and that is carried. And item 6.3 is the special meeting of council on September 24th, 2025. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Peter Kistemaker, second by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the Council of Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby adopt the minutes of the special meeting of council held on Wednesday, September 24th, 2025 as distributed. Any comment or addition to those minutes? Okay, there being none, I put those to a vote. Those in favor, and that is carried. Okay, moving on to departmental reports. If I can get a mover and a seconder to open the floor, please. Moved by Councillor Drago-Stefanik, second by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that council does hereby acknowledge receipt of the departmental reports provided at the regular meeting of council held on Wednesday, October 8th, 2025. And the first one up is the CAO, Manila.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. So just a quick report. Comrades is ongoing, so it's a lot of work to move everything from one system to the other and get it set up. So, and there's been very little time to do it, unfortunately. So part of what I'm thinking of, what I was hoping to do was an internship. I had a specific person in mind that works part-time for us that I thought maybe we could top up. But unfortunately, the NOHFC program requires 35-hour minimum. So that won't work. FedNor also has a program, so I'm going to explore that one to see if there's a lower minimum that might help us out with that and move that project forward a little quicker. The housing strategy, just ongoing on behalf of Hornepayne Housing Corporation. The meeting with Rural Impact is moving forward. Hornepayne Housing Corporation also has given a resolution of support for the innovation program, and we're just waiting for next steps and to hear from that board. Policy development, in tonight's meeting, you'll the public code of conduct is being presented for council review. By all means, council does not have to adopt it tonight. If you'd like to read through and you're comfortable adopting it, that would be nice. But if you feel you want to take time to explore it a little further, that's fine too. Our zone policy, I'm hoping to have for November. The reserve and reserve fund policy, I did, and it's also for your review tonight, but if it could get adopted in the next meeting to give you time to go through it, that's acceptable. Please email me any questions that you might have, and hopefully the multi-budget and the surplus deficit will come later this month or early next. Not necessarily from me. So holiday closure, I'm proposing something a little bit different this year. So historically, the town has closed, the township has closed the building for the two-week period over the holidays. If we were to do that, we would be closed from December 20th to January 5th. That's a long time for the public not to have access to the township. So I'm proposing that we remain open December 22nd and 23rd, our full hours, that we close at noon on December 24th, because it's some families' tradition to celebrate the holidays starting Christmas Eve. Then I'm proposing December 29th and 30th, the Monday and Tuesday following, that we be open for half days, and the 31st, from noon to 4, and January 2nd as well. So a little more, not full days for all of it, but more time than what was available in the past for the public to be able to come in. Yes.
I just wanted to ask, could you explain by appointment?
So I won't be here. I will be here for part of it. Sorry, I'm not here on the Monday. Jen is here. I think there will only be 2 people here. So the preference is to have it by appointment, because not all services may be available. So I'm still giving staff the option to take time off if they want. We'll have a skeleton crew here, but we will be open. So just so that we don't have people waiting for long periods of time, it would be preferable for them. Obviously, if they come to the door, we're not going to turn them away. But if they can make an appointment, that would be the preference.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, any further questions on that part? Okay,
And then action items from previous meetings, from the September 10th meeting, there was several letters that needed to be responded to, and they have all been responded to now. And then ongoing, the key indicators is something that I want to do starting in January. So I'd like to start presenting on a regular basis some key indicators to council. So number of kilometers of roads that we pave, or the number of dollar value of payments that we receive, or the dollar value of grants that we've received, grants that we've applied for, just so council is more informed, and a very short 1-pager of what's happened in that period. Monthly would be my preference. We'll see. It might be quarterly, but monthly I think would be a lot easier for staff to accomplish. Review and update policies, that will be ongoing for several years, I believe. Preparing the 10-year financial plan. So it's a big cost to do this task externally. I don't want to do it externally. We're going to have 2 qualified people here very shortly. So we're hoping that as part of the budget process, we'll get this done as well. Provide council with updated strategic plans. So we did that review last month, and Jen and I just need to go through it and get it put together, hopefully for the November meeting. And then obviously budget deliberations are right around the corner. The municipal insurance renewal I've been working on, and addressing citizen concerns are always ongoing. So that's it.
okay, thank you, Memo. Is there any questions for the CAO? Go ahead, Councillor Spencer.
Through Mayor to Manuela, under housing strategy, is there any luck in exploring new avenues of revenue streams that you are looking at?
Yes, so this came to council, I think, a couple times. Catherine's been working very hard with Rural Impact to create new funding streams. So the first thing that they're doing is looking at a regional project possibly, and turning that MSC model into something that's more sustainable, and able to partner with other municipalities to have larger numbers to be able to attract those larger grant opportunities. So as small communities, we don't have the numbers required to be attractive, for us to be attractive to the people that are grading those grants. So if we were able to join regionally, we'd have a lot more houses that we'd want to build together, and more resources by which to do it. So Catherine's been working very hard with Rural Impact to accomplish the first stage, which is the grant to the CMHC Innovation Grant, to accomplish this on paper and to set a roadmap for it that can be used throughout the province and throughout the country afterwards if we're successful. So
I just want to have an update.
yeah, that grant is, I think, $1 million to $1.5 million to accomplish that phase of it. So it will fully fund the project.
And I concur with the CEO's recommendation for the proposed hours open to public. I had a chance to review that prior to the meeting. I think it's a good idea.
Okay,
Thank
great,
you.
great. Yeah, I think you have complete consensus on hours? Yeah,
Yep.
and it's good for the
Thank you.
public to have that availability. Some people travel early in December, so. Yep. Okay, if there's no further questions, then we'll move on to the clerk's report. Jen, do you want to speak to your report?
Sure. So I did want to mention, in partnership with, Marriage License Modernization, through Service Ontario, we were able to be part of the online marriage license application system. So that was launched last week officially. Now people can apply online, and then rather having to do multiple appointments and use a typewriter to fill out the applications, we can do everything digitally, have them come in, provide their ID and pick it up. So that is much simpler. So that is exciting. And as per discussions at the, I believe it was the September 10th meeting, we had talked about the curling club and their fees for 2026. Council had advised that we should talk with them. So Manuela and I met with the curling club, and for the past several years, the rate was $155 per day. They are comfortable paying that for 2026. We did look at other options to see if there was a better rate to do it, whether that would be like hourly, but it ended up that this worked out the best. So they are content with that and everything is good.
Okay, great. Was there any questions for the clerk in the clerk's report? Go ahead, Councilor
Yeah,
Kenny.
thanks for the report. What was the cost before online marriage licenses?
So the cost remains the same. I can't remember off the top
Okay,
of my
that's okay.
head.
That's
Um,
not a burning issue, but just thought.
Yeah,
What's the
there's-
recovery cost for your efforts?
Actually, a better recovery this way because there's not as much staff time involved, but the rate
mhm.
that we receive is the same.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's better.
a very nice and easy system, so I'm pretty excited.
Okay, any other further questions for the clerk? I'm not seeing any, Jen, so we'll move on to the Public Works Manager. Dwayne, do you want to speak? Oh, sorry, oh, Treasurer, sorry, Richard, I'm jumping over you.
No problem.
Okay, Richard, do you want to speak to your report? Sorry.
Yeah, just point out a couple of things. I want to let council know that the financial information return was filed in September. The September 30th is sort of the deadline. After that date, if they're not filed, the province will start withholding funds. So everything has been done and confirmed. Final claim has been submitted on the airport. We still have a large receivable there, so hopefully that'll be coming. Oh, and we did apply for the fire protection grant. So that application has been done for 2025-26. I believe last year's grant amount was 8,000. This year's is 16. So that's been sent in. And I think everything else is pretty cut and dried. Any questions?
Okay, open up the floor for questions for the acting treasurer. Go ahead, Counselor.
Yeah, through you to Richard, thank you for putting in part of your report, the acting treasurer costs. I think that's crucial in transparency. I think that's wonderful you put it there. I thank you for that.
Okay. I guess I'm gonna take a couple of minutes or a few minutes, I guess, at this point, Richard, just to say thank you. Because in the background, we have hired somebody and that is exciting. But at the same time, we've had a really great working relationship with you. I think that is all of council consensus. And that you came in at a time when, like, basically we needed somebody right then and there, and you were there. And I thank Michael in the background for providing some names to our past CAO to make that happen. And yeah, it's been a pleasure getting to know you, and I'm sure we'll talk in the future, but if I don't have an opportunity at a future meeting, I would like to say that.
Appreciate that very much. I thought I had retired for good 2 years ago. This time I am saying this is going to be it, but I've also said to Manuela, I'm only a phone call away. So once the new CFO gets started, I'm sure we'll be working together for a little bit to get her up to speed on things that I've been doing and get the transition over. But I have really enjoyed it, and I got to tell you, I have fallen in love with Hornepayne. I am so excited for what I see happening there now. Manuel, I've said this to Manuela, and that if I was 20 years younger, I think I'd be moving to Hornepayne. I just see a lot of things in the future for Hornepayne, and I think it's going to be great. So thank you.
Okay, thank you for those kind words. I love to hear that. Yeah, that's encouraging.
Thank you, Richard.
Okay, if there's no further questions, acting treasurer? Okay, not seeing it now, we'll move on to the Public Works Manager's report. Dwayne, do you have anything to add to your report?
Nothing to add, but
Okay. Then I open up the floor for questions for the Public Works Manager. Go ahead.
Madam Mayor, Third Ave, they're gonna be done up to what, Nesmanima this year, I hear? The plan right now. That's a lot further than I thought they'd get. They did very well. Very well. Now, once it's finished next year, Dwayne, would it be a good idea that we wait, let it settle before we put the pavement, or is it ready to? No, we best to let it settle for at least a year, right? For sure. Yeah. Yeah, let it have the ground. That makes sense. Right. Thank you.
So, yeah, go ahead. So just to follow up to that, Dwayne, though, you're saying let it settle for this winter and pay next summer? Okay.
You should take care of it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's been a lot of work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Spend a lot of money.
So when you say a lot of water, what do you mean?
Groundwater from both sides of the hill.
Okay, okay, okay. So Manuel, you want to speak?
No, I just wanted to say, I think Jen probably maybe is wanting to say the same thing. She was before me.
Oh, okay.
She had her hand up before me.
I was just gonna say that we've had quite a few residents reach out with concerns about emergency services during the Third Avenue project.
Oh,
And we've responded to those emails. Manuela did reach out to Villeneuve to ask. And I figured this was probably a good time to also say it in a meeting publicly, so it's recorded so people can fall back on this, but they are updating emergency services with their construction as it moves. They're updating them with the closures or any blockages or any detours. And if any emergencies do happen, they will work with emergency services to be able to get to where they need to go.
Okay.
So I just wanted that to be here.
And I think I just wanted to add that back quite a few months ago, when we were still working out the logistics of this project, the recommendation was to pave next year.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
Yeah.
okay. Well, I think by our grant, we have to have it wrapped up by the end of October next year, right?
I believe so. Richard knows.
Richard, we know, are you still there, Richard?
Yeah, without looking up the dates, I think it is at least the end of October. The final report may have to be into the government by March of 27. But I think what we're shooting for is to get everything done next summer. And then we're well ahead of that.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. Councillor Spanik.
Yeah, following your comment, Jen, did the Villeneuve people have a person on a standby here on the weekends where the citizens are running into major problems with the lack of water? I know Dwayne is on, I understand that. But since they're the contractor that created a possible problem, do they have their people there? Because that's part and parcel of the whole project.
Right, I think Dwayne can answer that.
Yeah.
First couple of weekends, there was nobody there calling, but they've been there ever since.
Okay.
They responding, numerous times.
It should not fall on you. That's the contractor. And it's very nice you to assist. I know you did, because I'm told. But I think that's in there around. Thank you.
Yeah.
The good news, last weekend there was no breaks.
And somebody here.
Well, I think that just speaks to the project, is that this is a huge project for a municipality when you look at the costs in comparison to our total budget. So, it's a huge undertaking, but in the future, I think when we look at these projects, we might be able to do more at once. So this is a good way to learn, okay, right off the bat, you have somebody there, we have an emergency number, all of that's put out, you know, like, this is really besides the airport project, which didn't hinder people in the movement every day, right? So it wasn't as seen as much from the municipality. But when we're dealing with people's roads and their access to their homes, there's been a lot more, so it's a learning experience for sure. Go ahead,
So
Matt.
both North Rock and Villeneuve provided us with at least 10 names and phone numbers of contact people for after hours and on the weekend,
Good.
and we use them.
Good,
Yeah.
good. Okay, any further questions? Okay, I just have one about the curling club. So it will be up and running. For which date? Cause it says they're ready, but,
They're ready, once the re-nice them, it's like feeling good.
okay,
Re-nice, the pipe is running right now.
Yeah.
We're not flooding or whitewashing it, it's just a plan.
okay. And we usually shoot for around November 1st for that?
They're ready, yeah.
Okay, and then we'll start with the curling club.
Yep.
Okay. Go
I
ahead, Jen.
can speak to the curling club if you want.
Yeah,
When we
sure.
met with them, their goal is to start curling in December, beginning of December. So
Okay. And 4 weeks is enough time to, yeah? Okay, okay, great. Okay, any further questions for the Public Works Manager? I'm not seeing anything today. So we'll move on to the Economic Development Officer. Stacy, do you have anything you'd like to add to your report?
I don't have anything to add, but I'll take questions.
Okay, so I'll open up the floor for questions for the Economic Development Officer. Go ahead.
One
Wanda.
question I have been asked is, the rebranding products. People have asked are you going to be selling your products maybe from the GNL or another avenue or PECUNIARY or something going forward? Has that been looked at?
We've talked about it internal, but I haven't reached out to any of the business.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and I'll follow that up too, because I got asked today about, them being available at the hotel. Just because here it's 8 to 4, so. And, yeah, I think it would be a good idea. Yeah. Go ahead, Phil.
Yes, Premier. Yeah, at your last, I saw your takeaways, and I appreciate putting that down. Is there any grants for our community that we could implement to the conference if you attended, new ones, or that's something that it's on the horizon, or?
So this was the, First Nations.
Right.
Economic development, so I think there is grants there's partnership grants. I think the biggest thing is about building the relationships with the communities around, and then we could go for the same grants as partners. So I think it's just about building relationships and doing more regional projects, and not just looking at the other municipalities, but the First Nations that are right in our back.
I have to rephrase that we're right in their backyard. Yeah, I know it's right. My mom might see this and she'll call me, you should have cracked. Okay, any other questions or comments? So I see that there was a conference in September. And how was that?
That's when we were just talking.
Oh, okay,
It was fantastic. One of the best. I find it to be one of the best conferences that, I attended last year and this year. And I would say it's my favorite conference both years. I think the teaching is amazing. I find it, the way it's economic development is presented is more in line with Northern Ontario than any of the conferences that are down south. It's about partnership, it's about reciprocity, it's about learning, it's about reconciliation. I can't say enough about this organization. It's absolutely fantastic.
so is there anything at the conference that in particular, because you mentioned reconciliation, that for municipalities and what they can do to be a part of reconciliation?
So all the way through the conference, it talks about the different calls to action. All the all the presentations are talking to the First Nations that are there, but there's also EDOs from all over Ontario and government. So everything is built about building those relationships and taking positive steps forward in reconciliation. So it's just built into absolutely everything.
Okay, is there any communities out there that are real leaders in this in Northern Ontario? Is there anyone that stands out to you, like that would be comparable to us, or?
A First Nation?
No, a municipality?
No.
No? Oh, okay. So sorry, I just was confused. There's lots doing well, or there's none that stand out to?
Well, none that stand out to me through the conference because the municipalities weren't speaking,
Okay,
right? So they weren't speaking about what they were doing. We were more learning and listening.
okay, okay. Okay, right on. Any further questions? Okay, thank you, Stacy. And I'll put the acknowledged to receipt to a vote. Those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, moving on to correspondence action items. 8.1 is the cap paper announcement. So, there's quite a, yeah, it's changed. There's a temporary solution put in place to give time for hopefully a further permanent solution. But just some background from the mayor's seat. On September the 30th, I received a call, sorry, on the 30th, the 29th, from the mayor of Capscasing, and we had a chat and just how, you know, at that time it was ready to close, right? They had put out this notice and it was sad for everyone, and just the rippling effects it would have had across Northern Ontario. And so through the course of about 3 days, there was several conversations right around the region, all between many different mayors and people supporting Capscasing. And unfortunately, I was at a dentist appointment the day they had their rally, so I couldn't attend. But there was quite a bit of support, and I think moving into the future is being action ready with the other effects that something like this would have to Northern Ontario, because right now we know that we have a policing shortage in places. We definitely have a healthcare crisis, basically, with doctor shortages, nursing shortages across the Northern Ontario. And if 475 people are without work, all of that ripples back into the home. And you could have intimate partner violence increase. And we know that's a fact, the financial difficulties. So there was many items. So I'm glad that they've come to a solution that to the table. And hopefully it's something for the long term they can build out of this. So I don't feel at this time there's anything that we necessarily need to do unless council has a different perspective. If we can definitely do a support resolution or what have you. Go ahead.
Just more of a comment. It's an uphill battle for any pulp mill right now, just because of the way it went. As little as 25 years ago, we had probably within our region that I used to haul to personally, 10 different pulp mills, you know, from Thunder Bay to right to the Quebec border. Espanola is probably the biggest one to close down. And it's just a matter of everything's electronic now. And, you know, and there's only so much toilet paper and whatnot, but I believe Cap is more of a fine paper, like a craft mill. And that's a hard market. And we got to support them however we can. And I wish them all the best. And it's huge, even to Hornepayne, because if they're not taking the wood chips, that the residue that comes from sawmilling there's no place to put it. And all the sawmills are now struggling because of exactly that.
Yeah,
so I'm hoping the government maybe will start looking more into cogen, because it's an economically viable green energy and it'll take care of all our biomass problems. But it's just not the political favorite kid right now. So it might be a little while until we see a change. And you know, and it's glacial and stuff like that moves, but I sure wish they could speed it up, and for the people of Cap there, my heart's with them.
And that's good news from, the cat. I haven't seen the feasibility study they did, but that was some of the work that they did in the last 18 months was a cogeneration plant. So the paperwork and the feasibility study is there for that, so, and that would be a solution for our wood chips than hauling them out to
Yeah,
Quebec or what have you.
and those jobs that are potentially could be lost are not just jobs that you see every day. Those are well-paying, like they're very fundamental to the community and surrounding area.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, and when we were doing the work and still ongoing work at the Terrace Bay Mill, it comes to a point where it becomes critical infrastructure for a country. And that's where, like, when we talk about pulp and paper, I think there's 3 now existing in Canada.
Pulp and paper?
Yeah. Is
Yeah,
it
you
not
got Thunder Bay, Dryden, and there's still one left at Temiskaming that I can think of in Ontario. and I
in
don't know
Ontario?
what
So
the
maybe
rest of the
it's
country
3 in Ontario. That's what it was
Yes,
then.
yeah.
Yeah, because it was like that, like it's getting smaller and smaller, and then we lose that critical infrastructure in our own province or
Yes.
country.
Yep.
And we saw that through COVID when we couldn't make our own vaccines.
Yeah.
Like, so, like at some point we have to decide what are we making at home so that we can take care of the people, at least on this.
that we serve, yes.
Yeah, so. But anyway, I am glad that they did come to some resolution. So if there's no further comments on that, we can move on. So the NORDS pilot program. And this is a support resolution, and if I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Dragos Panic, second by Councillor Peter Kissmaker. Whereas the Northern Ontario Resource Development Support, NORDS, pilot program was introduced to help Northern Ontario municipalities address infrastructure pressures resulting from natural resource sector activities. And whereas the funding provided through the NORDS pilot program was very well received by the municipal sector, as it delivered timely and much needed financial support to many communities across the North. And whereas the program allowed for the strategic stacking of multi-year allocations in order to support large-scale infrastructure initiatives critical to community development, health and safety, and economic growth. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne requests that the Government of Ontario to make the Northern Ontario Resource Development Support NORDS program a permanent fixture of its support to northern municipalities. Be it further resolved that the province consider expanding program eligibility to recognize the significant impact that agriculture equipment and operations have on municipal infrastructure and rural communities, and expand the scope of the program to include these activities. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, I'll put that to the vote. Those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, moving on to 8.3, elect respect. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Peter Kissmaker, second by Councillor Belinda Kissmaker. Whereas a healthy democracy thrives when all individuals can participate safely, equitably, and meaningful in public life. And whereas Hornepayne, like many municipalities across Ontario, is witnessing an erosion of civil discourse and growing hostility in the political arena, both in person and online. And whereas elected officials at all levels, particularly women and those from equity deserving communities, are experiencing increased threats, harassment, and toxic engagement that deters civic participation. And whereas social media platforms, while powerful tools for engagement, have contributed to a climate of disrespect and polarization that discourages individuals from seeking or maintaining public office. And whereas inclusive and respectful governments result in better decision-making and stronger representation, especially when voices of diverse genders, identities, races, ethnicities, sexual orientations, ages, and abilities are present at municipal council tables. And whereas the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, AMO, through its Healthy Democracy Project, has identified troubling trends of voter apathy and a declining interest in running for municipal office. And whereas in 2024, a group of female elected officials from Halton formed Halton Elected Representatives, launching the Elect Respect campaign to advocate for respectful political engagement and safe, inclusive workplaces. And whereas on June 5th, 2025, the Canadian Association of Feminist Parliamentarians launched a national parliamentary civility pledge inspired by the work of her, to promote respectful conduct among elected officials. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne endorses the Elect Respect Pledge and commits to treating all individuals with respect in every setting, public, private, and digital, speaking out against harassment, intimidation, and personal attacks, keeping debate focused on ideas and public policy, not individuals, fostering an environment where people of all backgrounds feel safe and supported in seeking and holding public office, urging relevant authorities to ensure the safety and protection of elected officials facing threats or abuse, demonstrating leadership through integrity, accountability, and mutual respect among colleagues and constituents. And be it further resolved that the Township of Hornepayne encourages other municipalities, elected officials, organizations, and residents to support the Elect Respect initiative and sign the pledge at www.electrespect.ca. Be it finally resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, AMO, Ontario's Big City Mayors, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, FCM, the Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities, FNOM, and the Northeast Superior Mayors Group, and the Northwestern Ontario Municipal Association, NOMA. Any comment on the motion? I would like to just suggest a friendly amendment to also send it to the Northern Ontario Women's Association. And I would like to speak to this. I have been on council since 2016. I've been involved in boards since I was 20. I've had all sorts of experience, and this past 3 years has been the most difficult. I don't know if it was after COVID, but the climate of private attacks and public attacks is it's wearing, and the name calling that I know I have personally endured is it wears on you.
Yep.
It really does. So I'm in complete support of this. So. Those in favor? And that is carried. Canada Post mandate review. Jen, did you want to speak to this one first, or?
We received correspondence addressed to the mayor.
Right.
Requesting specifically that this motion be passed. They provided the motion.
Okay, I couldn't remember. I didn't put a note, it might be on my other agenda. Okay, if I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Peter Kistemaker, second by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker. Whereas the federal government has announced a planned Canada Post Corporation review from October 1st, 2025 to March 31st, 2026 as follows. Is that supposed to be notionally? Notionally, okay. Notionally, public consultations may be undertaken to consider the Canadian Postal Service Charter 2009 and to get a pulse on Canadians' needs and use of the Postal Service. Should engagement be necessary, the goal would be obtain views from Canadians and stakeholders to redefine the government service-oriented vision for Canada Post. In a context where the postal industry landscape has changed, the needs of Canadians have evolved, and the volume of mail and letters has declined significantly to the point where Canada Post sustainability has been undermined. And whereas the current plan does not ensure that there will be any public consultation or engagement with all stakeholders, and the process and terms of reference for the mandate review have yet to be announced. And whereas the recent Industrial Inquiry Commission report recommended service cuts in the form of post office closures and the reintroduction of community mailbox conversion plans of the last federal Conservative government. And whereas it will be crucial for the mandate review to hear the views from municipalities on key issues, including maintaining Canada Post as a public service, the importance of maintaining the moratorium on post office closures, improving the Canadian Postal Service Charter, home mail delivery, parcel delivery, keeping daily delivery, improving postal banking, Green Canada Post, EV charging stations, food delivery, improving delivery to rural, remote and indigenous communities, and developing services to assist people with disabilities and help older Canadians to remain in their homes for as long as possible. And at the same time, helping to ensure that good jobs stay in their communities and that Canada Post can remain financially self-sustaining. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne formally writes the Minister of Government Transformation, Public Works and Procurement to demand that no mandate review takes place until Canada Post returns to stabilized operation, until the further impact of the stamp price increase is realized, and until parcel volumes reflect sectoral demand. Be it further resolved that the township will include in its letter to the Minister of Government Transformation, Public Works and Procurement that any review of Canada Post and the Canadian Postal Service Charter must be done through a full and thorough, transparent public review of Canada Post, including public hearings with all key stakeholders in every region of Canada. Be it finally resolved that the township will make a written submission and or participate in hearings to provide input in the upcoming mandate review of Canada Post. Any discussion on the motion? Go ahead, Peter.
It's already past the date. Supposed to start October 1st of due. And it just feels like we're trying to, do we have any business getting in the middle of something that's going on that we have no control over? Just a thought. I kind of confused on how I feel about this.
Well, it's reviewing it from now till March 31st.
Right.
If we have till then.
But I think that, you know, the government should be allowed to do a review to see where the money's going. Like the lack of efficiencies, and maybe there's, we're talking about, say, at work, possibly different services that could be either modified, changed, or, you know.
I think
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
we're upholding what they should be looking into in the first place.
This is another set, and this is the fabric of our country, is the Canada Post, the part of the fabric. But at the same time, this goes back to what we were just talking about, paper mills. Everything's changed. Everything's went, as with pulp mills, everything going digital has the same effect on post office workers.
Yeah, I think there should be public consultation, because I'll give you one idea that
I agree with that, yes.
is that you have to transform. We need public service. And one of the things that we're seeing a higher demand for is online shopping, right?
Yeah.
Everyone online shops, but not everyone wants to use their credit card. Not everyone wants to put their information into the web, but they have to if they want to online shop. So that's an area where they could reinvent themselves, where they have computer, you can go in and they pay for it, whatever, and then you pay the Canada Post. And if it needs to have returns or whatever, it's a one-stop shop.
Kind of like a PayPal setup.
Yeah, like
Yes.
it's, you know, so I think there needs to be public consultation, like how do we see it as, like, especially for us living in a rural area, I don't want to see it shut down, or minimized. We need the service, like what all comes in through Canada Post. I know at Christmas time, they're inundated with parcels.
Yeah.
Like we would lose all of that, and I don't want to see it down to a mailbox. And the other thing that I would, through public consultation, is for us specifically, is changing our route. Like we only get delivery from
One
Sault Ste. Marie, and there should be multiple streams of delivery. To me, it's like, okay, maybe you have to expand into other services to make yourself sustainable. So,
You know, I agree with the public consultation. I just believe it should actually, this study should go on, but again, with the parcel delivery and all that, we're losing, the prices should reflect it. You know, and another thing that was mentioned today was, and I didn't realize this, was, so you have like these third parties, say FedEx is gonna deliver something to Hornepayne, and they charge the customer a certain price to be delivered, yet it's cheaper for them to put it on Canada Post, and they get Canada Post to deliver it as a third party. So why are we operating at a loss when, you know, that's where public consultation could actually maybe get that point across.
yeah, right. Okay, any further discussion? Go ahead, Belinda, and then Drago.
My main question though, are we past the deadline? Because it was supposed to start October 1st. That's the way I took this.
Go ahead, Jen, did you have something to say with that?
From my understanding, it's like ongoing. So in the period from October 1st to March 31st,
They're open to suggestion. Yeah, that's what
From
I
my
read it.
understanding.
Counselor Spina?
Yeah, 8 years ago at Phenom, they had a presentation by postal people, workers, and they were strongly looking at providing banking services in the isolated communities. I haven't heard anything since then, 8 years ago.
That's a good idea.
Okay.
I thought it was a great idea. I said, wow, this is, and there was no follow-up, and I paid close attention for about 6 to 8 months, and then it disappeared off my radar. But I thought that was a great idea to expand where there's no current financial institutions. What a great idea.
It's a great idea.
And
One thing about what you're just saying is, when we were out in Regina, for instance, and they had a booth, Cannabis had a booth set up, whatever. And they were talking about that as well as other things that were in this letter. And the thing is it seems like nobody even looks at that, and then it's why? Well, how come we're not hearing about it? They're saying we have a representative in our community that we can go to and all that. That's what they said at the booth, but I've never seen it here. And I've been anxiously waiting for us to see something in our emails or whatever, because they are good ideas, but they never come forward.
I personally think all those issues come up again when the negotiations comes up, and there was all this great ideas that had 8 years ago, 6 years ago, and all of a sudden they're running the same plate to the government of Canada saying, this is what we want to do. I agree with consultation, but I'd like to see what was actually done
Yeah,
from the last negotiation. Now, I don't know all the ramifications, I don't know all the logistics, but if you propose such a great idea, I don't think they were turned down. I'd like to know more about that as well.
Okay, so do we want to include those comments that we've discussed around the table in our input? Okay,
I think
and
so.
staff can do that. Okay. And the other thing too, I'd like to include is, my concern is that, okay, if it's not financially stable right now, or it doesn't have self-sustaining capability. We've seen that with other crown corporations, other places across our country. And then when business takes them over, they make money through the roof. And this is where I'm kind of feeling like, okay, is it a different financial strategy that they need to be using with a business model? Where, like what you're saying, Pete, if a third party can buy them and still make money off the shipping, like obviously there's something wrong with that. And I don't see shipping declining anytime soon. So to me, it's like, okay, yeah. So anyway, if we can, I'm not exactly sure how we word that, but like some sort of business plan to make it sustainable by diversifying.
And also, it's just a comment, right now they're running a deficit. You've been doing it for a while, and and it gets to the point, and I've often heard that even in our own community when they talk about the arena and the curling club and the gym and whatnot, it's a deficit. The snow removal and water and that is we think of it as a right when it's not, it's a privilege, but that's a service. But we pay for everything, so we got to decide too as a group of people, like Canada Post, okay, so it isn't losing money, and how much can we afford to lose, and when do we start? Is it a service? I believe it is. So it's all in your perception of how the money is spent and how wise it. But I really truly believe. That being said, I believe that there is business models out there that if they could just recreate themselves. CN was losing money every year because it was designed to create jobs. Become privatized, it's a lean, mean. I mean, that could have been money that was coming into Canada, not to investors.
Yeah, exactly.
And just a
Yeah,
final
go ahead,
comment
yeah.
through there to Jen. I think also we're looking EV charging stations. Northeastern Ontario doesn't have many charging stations. I know that for a fact. I looked online the other day. The Sioux is really expanding. Timmins has a few, but not very. I mean, if they got into that business, they have a brick and mortar building, one couple service shop. I mean, that's could be a revenue for them. So that could be, again, I'm sure they thought of it, but thinking about it and acting on it are two different things.
Okay, any further discussion on that support resolution? Okay, there being none, I put that to a vote, those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, 8.5 is, Stewart proposed recreation committee letter. Okay, so this letter is addressed to us, talking about some ideas. Open up the floor for discussion from council. Councilor Dravis Backwood.
Yeah, couldn't it be part of CDAC then? I mean, you have as opposed to, create another entity. That could be part, I mean, that would be, as soon as I saw that letter, that was my first thought.
Yeah,
And they focus on their own, great ideas. I think they are, and, hard to see that.
yeah, it definitely could be.
Funneled through there as
Yeah.
a creating, another entity, another group, or another, organization. That would be my thought.
Okay, any other? Go ahead, Peter.
I think the idea, it's really worked well in the past, and it was logistics that kind of ended it. Because it was a committee of council, like this would have to be as well, and I just think like going forward, if this was to go, and Mr. Stewart, was always in the past, worked very hard and done an awful lot for this town, when, especially in the terms of recreation.
Right.
I like the idea of the recreation committee, but I'd like to be able to, we gotta think outside the box. If it's gonna be a committee of council, you gotta give so much time for meetings and whatnot, and that just doesn't work when a lot of the volunteers are tradesmen, like the running trades for the stand. So, if they could do it as consultants, like same thing, but just how the terminology where we can work with them, and then we can get the most out of it. They can get the most out of it, because I know they have a lot of energy and great ideas, and us doing what we do because we have to, we're legislated to, it just basically puts roadblocks in. I'd like to be able to work with them and with their ideas and say, you know what, let's get through so it could be as easy as possible.
Right. Go ahead, Jen.
So I did want to mention, in 2023, I actually had done the reports, but council had moved from the multiple committee structure to the two main committees, with the intention of having subcommittees.
Mhm.
So the plan for the Community Development Advisory Committee, CDAC, that one included a recreation subcommittee, idea. So the way that we had structured it is that the main committee itself is held to the same requirements as a council meeting, but subcommittees can meet a lot more informally, and then they report their information back to the main committee, so that goes into the minutes that way for council.
Well, that's excellent, and that would fill all the requirements.
Yep.
And I'm sure Mr. Stewart would be happy with that, just as long as the rec committee call it what you want, that'd be great.
I think they still have to have, sorry, Jen, but I think they still have to have a member
Yes.
on the CDAC who goes to those committee meetings. Like correct me if I'm wrong, it was about so that we could have more volunteers in the
Yes.
background contributing
Mhm.
and not having to apply and be appointed, and that basically the CDAC.
Yep.
And,
Yeah, the core members, and then they can each be part of however many subcommittees. And then, yes, the appointed members who are part of those subcommittees are the ones who report back to the main committee on it.
So you'd have to have a counselor on one
So,
subcommittee.
that's right, a member of the committee, because
But
they're
would
not
you
all
have to
council.
follow the same, but if they had meetings, they don't have to have the long lead time and all that?
no, so the actual committee, so CDAC, and then the other one is Operations Advisory Committee, so OAC. The actual main committee meetings would require that, but the subcommittee meetings could literally be like coffee and
Great.
discussion, as long as that information is brought back to the main
Gotcha.
committee
Mhm.
and is approved by the main committee and then council if
Yeah.
there are major decisions.
Go ahead,
Everything
Lorna.
that was just said by Jen, that information has to get out to the community, because it's not.
Okay,
And we do need a recreation committee.
Yes.
yeah, go ahead, John.
I do want to say, when we switched to the two committee system, it was advertised on our website a lot. There's an entire page for it. I've told many people about it whenever it comes up. We can, now that we have social media again,
Yep.
post about it. But it is definitely like published everywhere.
Yeah, go ahead, Manuel.
Could we invite, Mr. Stewart to the next CDOC, committee meeting and make this proposal to him to see if he has an interest in being, like, forming that subcommittee under the CDOC?
So one issue with that is it would have to be a member of the committee that forms the subcommittee. So he could be
He'd have
part
to
of
be-
the subcommittee.
So just to give them the information on how they would go about the proper
Yes.
procedures. Invite them to give them information and see if they'd like to pursue it that way.
Yeah, okay, well, why don't we send this to CDAC then, the letter,
Yeah.
forward it on, we can let Mr. Stewart know that we've done that, and then when the next committee meets, there may be a committee member that wants to, help spearhead projects. The one concern I do wanna bring up is that both these projects are not in our strategic plan. I'm quite concerned that people might get upset if they're not moved forward on, and next year we're into an election year. So it's this, like this time, this is actually a great time to start talking about it, because the new council will make their strategic goals, so if they get involved with the CDAC now and have the background work done, then it can be put into the new council's strategic plan. Go ahead, Peter.
No, Madam Mayor, Jen can, if they form it as a subcommittee, so they get around all the requirements of advertising for meetings, whatnot, for the money they raise to put towards the project that they want to accomplish, that's within their own realms. They'll be in control of their own account. So the money they raise goes into a common account, and then they won't dictate where it'll go.
So, did you wanna?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can speak to that. But money's raised for a specific purpose would go into a reserve, so like a recreation reserve. Council sets up the reserve, and council also, decides what it's going to be used for. So if it's being raised for a specific purpose, let's get out of recreation and think about the Three Bears. If we wanted to make a new statue of the Three Bears and wanted to have fundraising and donation, and we put it into the Three Bears, that's where it would be. If you wanted to change it to add, I don't know, a Goldilocks, then that would be in a different bylaw, right? But you could make changes, but you have to set the initial purpose and try to fulfill it, and then you can expand.
So what I'm asking then is basically, okay, so thank you. They want to do a rainbow splash pad, I guess, so say that's their goal. We have to say whether yes or no, like when they do all the fundraising.
Well,
That
no,
was
well,
part
but
of the
I-
problem in the past.
Yeah, well, the thing is that they can do these initiatives and have a group on their own. And then they still have to come to council, because we have to find out, can we afford the maintenance and the upkeep on the
Yeah.
splash pad? Can we,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's in conjunction with Cedar Point Park or not, if that's where it is, or if it's in another location.
Right.
It doesn't say that by this letter, but so those type of requirements, we would have to make that decision on, because when you look at, our pavilion park area, there's insurance costs, needs, all of that, safety, all of that. So, yeah, there's like, yes, as the municipal council, we definitely have to give the okay if this is something that we want to bring the direction of the community in, and how we're going to do it. Like right now, I'm all for building more areas, but we have a strat plan that tells us straight out that we don't have the capacity to maintain parks. So, like when we looked at our current park infrastructure, we were looking at trying to bring them more down, isolated, so that we had one area we had to maintain, or down. I think at the time we had 6 on the SDR, and they had said, you should minimize those and concentrate them, is the word I'm
Yeah.
looking for, which we are trying to do, right? With the arena concentration, the pavilion concentration, and so.
Well,
Go
going
ahead.
forward, everything you just said, are we discouraging people from starting up something because they may not feel like they'll get the support they need from the township?
Well, no, I'm thinking right now is the time to, like, right
I'm
now,
just trying to-
council, no, I think it's a great question, Belinda. It's understanding the ebb and flow of the way a council works. Is we sat at this table in 2023 and created a strategic plan. We know the time constraints, what we have to move forward. So this is what I'm saying, is this is the time, if you want to get involved with the CDAC, see how the CDAC works, if it would fit with their vision of what they want. And then you have a year and a half to get that together. And then you have a council that's going to be in place in 2027, right after the election, where they're going to revamp their strategic plan.
Yeah.
But if you come to council in 2027 with this letter, that's not gonna be enough, right? But if you come with support or what have you, then you could get some input into that. That's my thinking on it. Any other further?
Oh, I totally agree. Like, it's good to know these things, and you don't wanna jump head first. You always put your toes in it, cause it's great ideas, but if you can't sustain it or maintain it, and logistically, it's just a no go, but that could be stuff that's all done ahead of time before, you know, cause a project such as that's a big undertaking. So it may be, you know, and do we even have the capability of running something like that?
Yeah, that's.
So like location and whatnot, but I mean, you'd wanna talk to the people involved and see, but you're right, you don't wanna discourage them, but you also gotta be realistic about it.
Right, and then at that time too, like the CDAC, they have their mandate that's been set up by council, but they are a committee too that might come back to council. They're an advisory group that can come back to council and say, you know, we've had discussions, there's lots of interest, we would suggest to council to move in this direction. So that's, you know, that's open dialogue between everyone. It's not showing favoritism, because there's a committee that's organized, that's getting the information, so there's a mechanism there. Yeah. Jen, go ahead.
I just wanted to clarify also for the committee structures, none of our committees have any funds available. So for any amount of money that they require or request, it has to be approved by council. When I was researching the systems in smaller municipalities with limited budgets, that is generally the case, because you want to ensure that all of taxpayer money is being spent appropriately. So even if, I mean, I imagine we'd have to have a fundraising policy or system in place. And then they would have to fit within that, and it would have to be like approved through council.
Yeah. So I think it would really, I think it's a great idea to have all invited to the CDAC. The CDAC can have a discussion on that. And then from there, they can decide on their own if this is the right fit for moving forward, because we've already gone through this. We've looked at this. We do not have the capacity to have several committees at all. Like we haven't even filled the operation advisory committee. We have 2 counselors sitting on that. And I understand that there's other needs where people want to, you know, they want to volunteer. I get that. I don't want to hinder that. But go ahead,
So I agree, this is a great opportunity for these people to get involved with the CDAC as a subcommittee. It's also an opportunity because council's going to have questions and they're going to have concerns, and it's an opportunity for them over time, like over the next year before the new council comes in, like you said, to mitigate those concerns. So if they can come up with a solution, you know, we're going to do a fundraising event every year in order to sustain a splash pad, for example.
Right.
It gives them an opportunity to come up with ideas, outside of the box ideas that can maybe help get their idea, move their idea forward and sustain it in the long term. But I think we should welcome people to the table, and if we can get more volunteers to, you know, just to get them through the right channels and help them through this process so that we can all accomplish something together, it'd be a good thing.
Yeah, I agree. Any further comments? Okay, so we're going to forward to the CDAC for discussion and invite Mr. Stewart to a meeting. Okay. Moving on, correspondence information only. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Dragon Stefanik, second by Councillor Peter Kistemaker. Be it resolved, the council does hereby acknowledge receipt of the correspondence information only package attached to the agenda of the regular meeting of council held on Wednesday, October 8th, 2025. And any comments on those 2 items? Okay, there being none, I put that to a vote. Those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, item number 10.1 is the committee and board update updates. If I can get a mover and a seconder for the minutes. Moved by Counselor Peter Kistemaker, second by Counselor Linda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that council does hereby acknowledge receipt of the committee and board meeting minutes attached to the agenda of the regular meeting of council held on Wednesday, October 8th, 2025. There's the Algoma District Services Administration meeting minutes, July 24th, 2025. Northeastern Public Health Board of Health meeting minutes, June 12th, 2025. Northeast Superior Mariners Group meeting minutes, June 4th, 2025. Thunder Bay District Municipal League meeting minutes, February 19th, 2025, March 5th, 2025, May 21st, 2025, and July 12th, 2025. Any comment on any of those? Okay, there being none, I put that to a vote to acknowledge receipt. Those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, 10.2 is council committee updates. And we'll start a round table, and I'll start to my left with Councilor Stan.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. The library board met last night. We had a productive meeting. We meet again. That was our seventh, because we have to meet 7 times per year. That was our 7th meeting. And we'll still meet in November just to wrap everything up for the year 2025. We have a really good working group, in my opinion. And the staff does a very good job of special events, and a couple that are coming up. Of course, one is the trunk retreat that her name is Wade, and she has the largest participation, I'm told, last night with trunk retreat since she started this event. So it's really nice to see the businesses and individuals are responding. So kudos to her and her staff.
Great. Hopefully, one evening. Okay. That's your update, Counselor. Thank you. Linda.
I don't have anything right now.
Okay, thank you. Peter?
I don't have anything. I should have had the emo report done, but I got sidelined with a few other things, so I should have it ready for the next meeting.
Okay, great, thank you. I just have a couple of items. An announcement is that I've taken a new role on the Ontario Energy Board, appointed. So I had my first meeting and onboarding, so I'm looking forward to doing that. And I was really excited. I don't know if Council remembers Jesse Richard, who helped us back when I first became mayor with the affordability fund for hydro, and people got some free fridges and stoves and some insulation and all that, dryer. And that was all Jesse. You know, we reached out because we were talking with them back in the day, if you remember, about the internet, expanding internet, and they had the Wi-Fi Connect. And anyway, this roundabout conversation, we ended up there, and they supported our community. And he sent me a wonderful congratulations letter and wants to meet. And I was like, oh, of course. Yeah, it was really good. So that was exciting for me, because it went full circle back to 2019. But 2 things that I wanted to mention, and Council, you would have received, if you're signed up for the AMO notifications, and I did forward it to Manuela, so it'll be on our next information only package, but I wanted Council to know this, and all of the public who are watching, that right now AMO is putting out free training for the upcoming election next year. So for elected officials and for anyone that's interested. And I know I only looked at the elected officials part because I signed up for that. And it's 4 different webinar type settings on 4 different topics, and all of them were intriguing to me. And I have to say, the one that I know I've fallen on quite a bit, especially in the challenging times of being a mayor or on council, was understanding your why. And that's the first one, because you'll come back to that sometimes when, you know, things that are just a bit chaos and you don't know why, and you're like, why am I doing this again? And but anyway, and I want to put that out to the public as well. I did commit that I'll put it up on my Facebook, my political Facebook page, so that people can see those. I think that's AMO does really good training, so that would be great for people. The second one that we've had many inquiries about the HGTV committee, improve your community. It's sweepstakes running for municipalities under 20,000 right now. And I did send some information. I'm putting it out here right now just for discussion. I have had 3 people approached me that they would be willing to lead it, move forward with it. If we were going to schedule a CDAC committee meeting in the near future, we could push that to that and run it through that in a subcommittee. That might be the best avenue to get it forward. There is quite a bit of interest. And I'm willing to reach out to everyone. I think I have 12 or 15 people that have reached out to me. I'm willing to reach out back to them to say, can I put you in a group email and we have an initial discussion? If, or I'm up to council, however you want to, I can give those, ask them if I'm okay to give the names of the committee and we work it that way. But there is quite a bit of interest in our community and it has to move fairly quickly, so.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else has had comments about it or.
What was it about again?
It's an HGTV, just a second.
Yeah, improve your community.
Improve your community. I just got another email on it just the other day. Nothing's working for me right now. No, there we go. Yeah, so it is Hometown Takeover Canada. You apply now to submit your hometown. And basically they're doing community improvement. It's to be a Canadian original series, so it'll be a TV show. And it has HGTV is looking for a Canadian small town that has a population of 20,000 or fewer and is asking for submissions to include photos and videos of the areas in the community that need the most love, whether it be public parks, main streets, gathering places, or change makers' homes. And they're hoping that production would begin next year.
Interesting.
And there is quite a lot of interest. I just want to see the deadline to submit. Have that already. Has any other counselors had anyone reach out to you about this?
I read about it.
You
The
read it?
reason I read about it, there's 2 municipalities northwest that are going forth. They approached council and the council approved that committee to go forth and their arm's length of council, but the council needs to approve it.
Okay.
That was my clear understanding.
Okay, well, I definitely think it's something that needs to
Yeah.
be investigated. If
I
we
agree.
can put this to the CDAC and we'll have a meeting scheduled ASAP and look at it. And there's people that want to champion it. Like if there's one person on the CDAC that wants to work with the whole group and there's like the video process, all of that. People are already like, I can do the video, I can do this. And it would be great if it was community, like when the one person approached me, I said, well, I have no problem supporting it, but I don't think we have the staff resources to do everything in the background. But if everyone else work together and get everything done, we can definitely help assist that way. So, okay, so that's how we'll move forward with that. And I'll I guess I should contact the people who reached out to me and get permission from them that I can share their information with the CDAC. Would that be appropriate, Manuela? That one? Yeah.
I
Okay.
think so.
Okay. Okay. And that was all that I had to report on right now. I think I've updated council on everything. Okay, moving on to 11.1. Acting Treasurer tax subclasses report. Richard, go ahead.
Yeah, just, I think the notes are fairly clear, I hope. At our last meeting, there was some confusion on what we were doing as far as creating bylaws to create the two new subclasses. And after that meeting, our CAO had contacted Mr. Fries, okay, who we had a virtual meeting with him, complimentary, by the way. Very knowledgeable gentleman, a lot of experience in municipal tax. I think Manuela said he actually wrote all of the legislation for the assessment when what was the term, Manuela?
Tax capping.
Yeah,
The
for
capping.
capping when the Assessment Act was all rewritten. Anyway, so his suggestion was don't jump, take your time and make sure you know exactly what you're doing. And there were some issues that we had sent him a copy of the bylaws that we were looking at. His suggestion was just to repeal them, take your time and go through them. Now, he did also send us that report that he had put out on June 20th of 2025 that talked very well to both of these two new subclasses. And so we included that for council as well. So this is just a little background, I guess, to the idea of repealing the bylaws where we tried to create those subclasses. And we'll put that off and do it at a later date once we've got some better understanding of the proper steps to do it. Any questions on that?
I open up the floor for questions. Go ahead, Councillor Smith.
No, just a request through you to Jen. Can I have a hard copy of Mr. Fry's report, please? I find it much easier with hard copy and I can highlight it. The rest will work more easier. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. The only question that I have, Richard, is at our last meeting, I know there was a deadline of September 30th or
Yes.
whatever, I can't remember
Yes.
the date, but
Yeah, it
Um,
was.
go ahead. I just, so does that hinder us for 2026 at all, or we can revamp this and move forward if needed?
You're correct. September 30th was the deadline that they put out when they announced the affordable rental housing subclass. In his expert opinion, he thinks because nobody jumped on the other new subclass, this was maybe a little push to get municipalities to rush into this. And in Peter's opinion, there will be opportunity to still put that forward in the near future. So that, again, taking his advice, we should repeal, make sure we understand. But there was a September 30th deadline. He thinks that that will be extended and we'll have no problem passing the bylaw in the near future.
And Laura, did you want to speak to this?
Yeah, it was, the September 30th deadline was for, subsidized housing, new build. So we won't have any new builds that are completed for multi-residential subsidized housing in 2026. So there is no tax to affect.
Okay. Okay, and any further discussion on that? And we have those bylaws to be repealed later in the meeting? Okay, if there's no further discussion, then we'll move on. Thank you, Richard. 11.2, declaration of a council vacancy, and I'll hand it over to Jennifer.
Thank you. So, myself and the CAO received notice that Councillor Scheneman yes, resigned. Thank you. I completely forgot the word. I was really struggling. Resigned. So, in this, it prompted me to look at our council vacancy policy and noted that there were some areas for improvement. And this needs to be dealt with within 60 days from the declaration of vacancy, which is currently happening now. So you'll see that I provided a report with a couple of options, and I provided a updated policy. You'll see my recommendation for the option to move forward with would be an appointment, so to open a call for applications for appointment rather than hold a by-election, because by-elections must be held to the same standard as a regular election, which means the same cost. So we would have to pay for an election this year and then also pay for an election next year. So financially speaking, it's just more logical to do an open call for applications. But yes, feel free to, read the report, policy, and ask any questions.
Okay, I open up the floor for questions. Councillor Spanik, go ahead.
I'm familiar with this report because we went through this a few years ago.
Mhm.
The only question I have for you, the timeline you set in your report,
Mhm.
is it acceptable on the Municipal Standards Act? So therefore, there's no confusion.
Mhm.
Those dates are solid, enough time in between to advertise for potential candidates.
Mhm.
Everything's in line. Thank you.
And if I may.
Go ahead, yeah, go ahead.
Part of the reason that I'm suggesting such an accelerated timeline is because, as you know, the budget discussions start on the 29th. And it feels counterproductive to wait until, like, to hold it for longer and risk not having that council member be part of those budget discussions. If council wants to do a longer timeline, absolutely. That was just my thinking and why I proposed a shorter one. And I did check in other municipalities have done short time frames.
But just for clarification, we do only have 60 days from
Yeah.
today,
Yes.
right? To fill the
Mhm.
seat?
Yes,
So we're looking somewhere like December 8th,
at the latest.
in that area, is 60 days, okay. So the option is, so in this recommendation, you're saying, so today we're declaring that's been done? Because that's by the municipal act too, right? As soon as you get a resignation, it has to be at the next council meeting?
Yes, so if it is a resignation, if it is a death, it's at the next at one of the
Right.
next two council meetings, but for a resignation, it's at the next council meeting that must be declared.
Okay. So tomorrow we would start advertising
Yes.
at 8 AM. On Wednesday, October 22nd would be the application deadline at 2 PM. Thursday, the 23rd, deadline to withdraw an application, okay? Thursday, the 23rd, clerk certifies qualified candidates. Thursday, the 23rd, special meeting, agenda is posted. Tuesday, October 28th, 2025, candidate meeting and selection, okay. So that would be a special meeting.
Yes, so we would have two special meetings that week.
Mhm.
Sorry. It is recommended. Some places do include a meeting to appoint in a regular meeting or a different special meeting. It's recommended to have it as its own meeting just because it's cleaner. So that's why I'm recommending, also because the budget meeting will be quite heavy and it would be good for them to. Yes.
Okay, I'll go ahead, Jen.
One more thing, I'm sorry. If council is in agreement with the policy, there is, well, there are a few changes, but one of the notable changes is that the questions will be predetermined. So each candidate will be asked the same 8 questions. I'm asking that council submit 2 to 3 questions to myself. Let's see, what date? I would say by the 22nd. And then I will go through them and compile the list of questions. And additionally, so it will be each applicant or each candidate answers 8 questions, but in this method,
You have 3 questions or 2 questions each one?
so that's, I'm getting to the, everyone could submit up to 3 questions
Okay.
because if there is a tie vote, the previous policy, I believe, had closed session and then revote This policy is suggesting that it would just be that the two tied candidates come back out and answer the additional questions that we have. So we'll have up to 10 questions prepared, but the 8 will be the ones that they are asked. And then if there's a tie, there's 2.
So just for clarity, so it's the mayor and council that will be voting?
Yes.
Okay, so I was gonna say, if it's just 3, you wouldn't be a tie, but like I said,
Yeah, it will be all.
up to that, okay.
Okay, so by the new policy, I'm looking at 5.3, filling a vacancy by appointment by the call of non-renewal. I just want to go through this a little bit because I know when I went through this process with another counselor and it was very stressful. So what you're proposing, so you're gonna get all the names, you're gonna make sure all the candidates are vetted, that's all by the municipal act. And then alphabetically, they will appear on the agenda that would be printed prior to the special meeting on Thursday, right? And then at the meeting, once we start the selection process, all of the candidates are going to be in a supervised area,
Yes.
okay? And they'll come in, they have up to 3 or 5 minutes, depending on how many candidates we get, right, to speak to council. And then they get 8 questions. Every counselor is gonna ask the candidate the same 2 questions. Like, so it's the same questions are asked each candidate. After it's all said and done, the candidate leaves. How many candidates come in, we continue this process. After it's all said and done, we have no discussion, we vote. Or we have discussion, open discussion, or,
So that's up to council. I would recommend open discussion.
yeah, I wanna have everything.
So if council wishes to move directly into a vote, absolutely can. If council wishes to have discussion, you can. I'm not requiring that there be discussion in this policy. I think it's subjective, but it is absolutely allowed if council wishes to have discussion prior to vote.
Okay, so it's not prohibited.
Yeah.
And it could happen, okay. So from there, if you have a discussion or not, we vote. And that vote is a balloted vote with our names on it.
Yes.
So, and then no one sees who we vote for, they go to you, and then you read off the votes, okay?
And you also read off
Who voted,
So I
Yes.
voted for Jen. and
Yes.
Peter Kissinger votes, yeah, okay.
okay? And if they, at that point, if they get 50% of the votes, they're the candidate, right?
I believe it's 2/3.
Or more than?
Greater than.
Yeah.
Oh, greater than
greater than
50%, yeah,
50%.
okay, greater than 50% of the votes, okay. And then they fill the vacancy.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone with 0 votes gets automatically eliminated. Okay, and then if there's a tie, this is where the candidates come back in and they're allowed, we ask 2 questions. Who's asking those 2 questions? Is that
Yeah,
I
it could
believe
be.
the clerk?
I
Could
believe
ask
the
it?
clerk
Okay.
would ask all the questions because she would have had them
Mhm.
prior. From.
Oh, I
from
thought council was asking the 8 questions.
Council submitting the questions to the clerk ahead of time. So then she'll ask the same 8 questions of everyone and you'll have the opportunity to make the answers.
Okay,
Is that correct? That's how I read it.
that's not how we did it the last time. That's okay. I don't,
What was the date that we have to have them ready to be submitted by? October
The 22nd at the
22nd.
latest.
Thank you.
The sooner the better, but
all candidates will ask the same, be asked the same, which will be predetermined by the clerk.
I guess the clerk can provide you with the questions.
Yeah, that's what we,
Yeah.
yeah, two
Yeah.
that provide each counselor with 2 questions, because I think
Yeah.
that's why there's 8, right? Because they're each getting 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so council will, so yeah, I'm, so for voting then in each, if there's a tie, then the clerk, Jen, you can ask those 2 questions to the 2 candidates, or I guess we could have 3 candidates possibly that tie,
Mhm.
or 4, I guess. We would have, it would be 4 that would tie if they all got
Yeah.
1, 1, and 1.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're gonna end up with 4 or 2, I guess.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so they come back in, so this, during this whole time, all candidates are sequestered. And they don't see any of the presentations
Yeah.
or back and forth, okay, cause I did find that when I just wanna say, I found it unfair, not to me. I was privileged, had we gone further, like, had we had more questions? Because I got to see each presentation after. We never did ask more questions, so we ended up pulling out of a box.
Yeah.
But there was no way to do that after. There was no way to.
Yes, especially because that was, when I was researching this, I saw in our previous policy that it was essentially like a random draw. And that's how some places do it, and that to me felt a bit odd. So, actually, the CAO and myself set up a call with the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing to ask about kind of what options there were and, best ways to ensure that this is accountable. And Manuela had actually brought up the idea of asking additional questions if there's a tie. And they said that that's absolutely fine to do. So we thought that would be a better way to kind of determine the vote. But because that is going to be the method of breaking a tie, if there is one, candidates should be sequestered again after they're done answering so that they're not getting information that the others don't have.
Right. And at that point, so after the first round of candidates come in, we can have an open discussion if we want. Then we vote. And then if we have a tie and we have to go further into these other questions, we can do the same thing, have an open discussion if we want, and then vote. And that's all?
Yep.
Okay, and it's all done in the open, right?
Yep.
Okay. Councilor Stewart.
Yeah, over the years, I've paid close attention to municipalities, some municipality did it, it's called by lot. That's
Yeah.
route.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised. I double checked, so I could
Yeah.
say accurately, everybody that puts their name in, it's another way of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, once we get our ballot, hold it over, we hand it to the clerk. The clerk reads the person that wrote it and also the person you voted for.
Yeah.
I want to be really clear,
Yes.
because there was some confusion about that last time as well, and I wasn't happy.
I think it sounded like here as well. Yeah.
So it's an open,
Yeah, it's a recorded vote.
yeah, it's
They're
recorded, yeah,
recorded.
correct,
Yep.
thank you.
Yeah, they're not done in private, like
Right,
they're done in private.
right,
Because you don't want, like, it's not done in a recorded vote, like at a regular meeting
Mhm.
where the clerk calls the vote, then I vote first. And
right.
everyone knows my vote,
Yeah.
and so that can hinder everyone else.
There's no collusion,
Yes,
Mhm.
that's right.
thank you.
Okay, so then after all of that, we're gonna know the candidate. So at that point, I am just thinking, because I've gone through this process, Peter's gone through this process, and Drago sat at the table during the process.
That was the other side.
And I feel for the candidates, and I want people to apply, is that, so once we've decided who it is, they're not in the room. So how do we do that part? How is that part going to be done? They'll be both in, or how many invited in, back in?
Yeah, I
We'll
would
have
bring them
staff.
back in.
Yeah, we'll have staff to.
Okay, and then Jen, you'll just tell them the vote
Yep.
recording?
Mhm.
Okay. And then at our next regular meeting, we declare them the candidate, or
So,
the council seat filled, or?
you can do either or. Again, in this scenario, I would recommend, if we're going with the timeline to the 28th, that they be sworn into office at that meeting so that they're ready and able to participate in the budget meeting. But it can be done either way.
Okay, so the bylaw and everything would be ready to go, and
And
we
you
would
just have
just
to put the name.
insert in their name? You think that
I think it makes sense.
makes sense? We
Other
just do it
places
all
do it,
that?
yeah.
I think your timeframes are so tight that gives them an opportunity to get involved right away with the next.
Yeah, 'cause they're gonna have a meeting the very next day if
Mhm.
this happens.
I'm sorry.
Sign up.
Wow. In time for budget?
Again, I do apologize. I just was trying to think of the most logical thing.
What do you apologize?
Go ahead, Counselor,
Yeah,
sorry.
since it's such a tight line, I assume you could put it on the radio as well. As an advertising, I think
Yeah,
that's
sure.
crucial.
I could actually do that with
That'd be perfect.
I can do that tonight. say it's opening up, I can read out, actually, I'll
But I
highlight.
would also put it on there. They have a twice a day announcement at no cost. And, that could be, because I don't want
And this is.
anyone saying they didn't hear about it.
Oh, that's in my package.
Yeah,
sorry.
Facebook.
That will happen.
You're still.
But I mean, long as I feel comfortable within myself,
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
Do we
I
have,
know my senses are fine. The other thing, I will also just mail them.
The mail's not.
No, forget
Yeah.
it.
I know, that was my thought too. That would've been
That really
great.
worked well.
to our boxes?
I
Cause
don't know.
our rural post office workers are under a different agreement.
We can find out if yes,
Yeah.
do a mail out.
I
Yeah,
like to cover all the angles. with
let's find out. That's a good
Advertising.
idea.
Mail drop would be
publicity,
great,
I mean,
but-
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, do we want to look into what Counselor Stefanik's saying though about an ongoing advertisement?
Yeah,
campaign?
I've got radio, Facebook, website,
Okay.
mail drop.
Also to your
Yeah.
mayor, to you, I think maybe you should talk to CBC radio because some people do listen to CBC, in our community.
Okay,
I thought
but I'm
you-
just
CBC
wondering,
North.
am I the appropriate
I do
person
when
to do
there's
this, or is
hot
it should be
topics
a
from every
radio
province.
announcement?
No, I think it should be a radio announcement. from
Yeah,
staff.
okay,
Yeah.
radio
No,
from
yeah.
staff, okay.
In all the avenues.
you're not alone.
Okay, so I'm gonna just let council, just what we were discussing there, the staff will take care of the announcements and everything, cause I don't wanna
Yeah.
hinder or
No.
that's,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
okay, great. Okay, any other discussion or comments? I did have the one comment about the length of the words, but I think Jen, you said you could change that, eh?
yes, if, council.
Okay, yeah. So on 5.3D, it reads candidates may submit a personal statement of qualification to a maximum of 2 pages in length with the application for consideration of council. I was just concerned because that doesn't give a limit. If it's 2 pages, single space, that could be, 1,000 words. If it's
Fine,
double
yeah.
spaced, so it's fair. I just said put it to a maximum of 500 words. If that's,
Fine.
cause, I think our last one said, 2 pages double spaced or something. Anyway, that's what I figured out, 500. We could do 1,000, but I just said 500 words, but. And it is important too, right? Cause that gets posted, where did I read that? That gets posted in the agenda, right? At 500 submission?
Yeah, so it
Oh,
gets posted in the, like the actual information about it is posted in the public notice, and then the, approved personal statements, are attached to the agenda.
Yes, the approved personal say, okay, yeah, I know what you've read that somewhere, okay. Okay, so. So that was all I have. Was there anything else that you noticed in that read? Is everyone okay for the timeline? Are you available on the 28th? We need everyone here.
That'll be at 6 o'clock, right? You
At
come?
6 PM, yep. And did we,
I am fixing the motion right now.
okay, because we need the date of the
Yeah.
special.
I had that realization.
Thank you for fixing it. Go ahead, Bonnie.
This might come up already. Um, will this be on the website to print out, so people just get it there, or do you want them to come to the office to,
They can do either or.
okay. So like when people ask you, I just wanna be able to tell them something, that's why I'm asking.
Oh, yeah, they can get it off the website, they can come in.
Okay,
They have to do it in person though.
Yeah,
right?
they must submit in
in
person.
person, that part I get.
And you'll see, the Schedule A2 policy will be filled out. I, left the dates blanking so that council could discuss, and it'll be published tomorrow.
So do we know, Jen, do you know how long it takes to vet a candidate? I'm just concerned that if. So the deadline of, what was it, 2 p.m. on whatever day that was, the 22nd? Is that, so if someone came in at 10 to 2, is that enough time to vet them, or is that? Or does that give you the time for the next day?
I believe so.
But I'm not sure what all it was entailed there. I've done this a few times, I know it's a bit of.
From what I've read, it's a lot of, like, they provide the information and I just make sure that all of it
Is there?
is there.
Okay, okay. Okay, so if someone comes, as long as they're before 2 o'clock on the final day, they can be a candidate if it all checks off. Or they can get the information right away to you or something.
I would say as long as I have the information prior to 2 p.m. on the day.
Okay. Okay, I think I have an understanding. Do you have an understanding?
Here's one.
Okay, what else do we need to do on this? So did you change the motion?
Yes,
that's on
I
the
can read
floor?
it out if
Okay,
you
if I can get a mover and a seconder, and Jen will read out because it has the date. Moved by Counselor Peter Kissinger, second by Counselor Drago Stefanik. Drago, is that your hand?
Yeah, thank you.
And go ahead, Jen.
Be it resolved that council approves, Gov. 002 council vacancy policy as attached. Be it further resolved that council declares the office of one councillor previously filled by Ted Sheneman to be vacant in accordance with section 262 of the Municipal Act 2001. Be it further resolved that council directs staff to proceed with option 2 to fill the vacancy. Be it finally resolved that council sets a special meeting on October 28th, 2025 at 6 p.m. for council candidate interviews and selection.
Okay. Any further comments? There being none, I put that to a vote. Those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, and then we'll pass the policy later, or the bylaw. It's officially, okay. 11.3, ISIP Arena Project Report. And Stacy, did you want to speak to your report?
I don't have anything. Add, but if you have any questions, start answering.
Okay. Sorry, I gotta get down to it.
I just want to say I'm really glad to see that task schedule. That's exciting for me. You have something to follow.
Go ahead, Counselor Drago, and Peter.
Just state this, it's a simple question, actually. I get the numbers, the 40%, 33.3. Those prices are now locked in, right?
Nope.
That's one of that. Especially with the cost of labor, materials, tariffs, and scares me a bit.
I
Go
think
ahead,
that's some
Peter.
word, which are we were looking at, because the original plans was, getting a lot more bang for a buck, so we're gonna need a lot more done. So the new requirements for so many bathrooms and whatnot, and we talked about how it was all downscaled in there. So how are we with, what can we get off and say, because this price on top of the roof that we already have to pay for is an awful lot of money for the township to, it's a big, and and then once we get that, and I know I'm asking a lot, but I would really like to see in writing with numbers, like my fellow counselor likes to say, Drago, what kind of increase of taxes, because this could, as much as we need it, we need the roof done, we need certain things done, but I don't want to get to the point where we're gonna put ourselves in financial jeopardy.
Okay, I put that to staff. Oh. Richard? Oh, hi, Richard.
Hi. Just one response. As far as the pricing, We've been back and forth with JL Richards. They've gone back to their experts to get current pricing. So even though this has been on the table for quite a while, they have updated material costs, labor costs, and everything to about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, our last meeting with JL Richards. So I did want to make that one comment.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
They've also included very large contingencies,
Mhm.
Okay,
which is a big cushion. There's over $1 million in contingencies. I think it's a huge number in contingencies. You also reduce the size of the footprint of the building by 4 feet all the way around to try to save costs. And change some of the interior material. So instead of wood ceiling, a panel ceiling.
So once we get that number, then we can get a
RFP out and
but then then you gotta do that, and then we can see what it's actually gonna do to our taxes
yeah,
before we pull the trigger.
yes.
Good.
Well, there's some funding and then there's some requirements
Right.
from us as well, right?
That's excellent.
Right, but I guess too, with that, if that is going to come to council, we need to understand that if we don't, in your words, pull the trigger, we still have significant costs then that we've incurred
Absolutely.
that need to be paid. Like, we're probably at, I'm gonna guess somewhere around $500,000
Yeah, for sure.
or
Two to
400,000.
300, I believe, so far.
So no
I think
matter
it's
what,
more
we
than
might
that.
be forced to, or not forced to, but
Do you know,
if
Stacey?
we have to pay this much.
That's what we paid already, and then we have ongoing
Yeah.
costs right now with the consultant.
Yes, so it'll be more than 200.
Yeah.
We got a
Yeah.
monthly invoice.
So the money that we put into it, Stacy, then like so far,
Yeah.
that was out of taxpayers' money, correct?
We got money back from the grant, but if we
Yeah.
don't go forward,
Yeah.
we have to give all the money back to the
Back.
government.
So
we
the money we put into it so far is gone.
What we put into it, we got reimbursed.
Right.
But if we cancel the project,
We'll have to
we
pay
have
back.
to pay back.
Yeah, so I guess what I'm trying to say is, our portion is 1.2 and change here.
Yeah.
And regardless if we didn't move forward, there's still a chunk of that we're going to have to pay. With
Yeah.
no project.
We were into it for almost $250,000.
Yeah. Yeah, right now.
So so no matter what, if we say, no, we're not gonna go ahead, we're still $250,000 that we have to pay.
Mhm.
Because we got ourselves into this.
Yeah, at least, because I think that's probably what it's.
Which
at
is
right
really sad because when Stacy did all the grants and did everything, we were actually gonna get a beautiful, almost a full refurbishment to scale down gym and library. It's just, I feel like it's just terrible. We got caught up in something that, and it was great, like.
now. Oh, it was just COVID,
such-
it tripled prices.
Yeah, it officially tripled it.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
Almost quadrupled in some areas.
Okay, so we're,
We're in it. No question.
Yeah, we can't throw away that.
No.
We can make choices though to reduce costs.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we can make choices of steel exterior instead of brick.
But thanks for that explanation. Stacy, that does clarify.
so did we, look at the reduction? I just remember the reduction in washrooms, was that looked at?
But I think, yes, it is.
That's the code. What we
Yeah.
have in there.
It's code.
Okay, so what we have in here is code, so it's still the same amount then for the other, because it was made to capacity.
So this building is a standalone building.
Yes.
So none of anything in the building doesn't have to be changed. So this is an extension, but it's actually a standalone building, so we don't have to touch any of the systems in the actual building.
So just to be clear, but we'll have to have a bathroom, 2 bathrooms in each of the facilities though.
So in the new facility, yeah.
So the library and the gym will have to have their own.
No, it's a shared.
Oh, nice. Okay, so
there's
it's down,
main
okay.
facility. And then
And
there's
it's
the
split between the
universal
two.
washroom in the, where the canteen.
Great. Thanks.
hard copy of that too. Thank you.
Are we gonna see the footprint of that, what the new structure looks like? Cause the last time I saw it, we had a renovated canteen area and there was a main entrance, like,
Yeah.
when is that coming to council? Are we gonna do that with the budget?
That would be nice.
Then, okay, cause I'm a little bit lost, I'm gonna say right now, I'm a little bit lost at where this, I think that's the first time I've heard it say it was a standalone. Or did we get
No,
a
we discussed
report
it
on
before.
it?
Yeah.
When did we
We
discuss that?
discussed it when
Yeah.
we did the whole change and then when the architects just confirmed that if we do it.
Yeah.
It's still gonna look exactly like it's part of the building, but we have to have that, it has to be standalone, otherwise we have to upgrade the fire suppression and all the bathrooms in the building.
Okay,
So it still looks like it's an extension, but it has to have its own wall. Otherwise, we have to upgrade the arena,
Yeah.
which we don't have money.
okay,
Sure,
okay,
put a lot of officers in the way.
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I'd love to see the new footprint, cause
Doesn't-
cause the last one I saw, have we had an updated footprint, like, did I miss it?
We've had meetings, but it might not have come, but I'll make sure.
No, because I'm just trying to remember, because we were, at the one time, there was gonna be no washer facilities in the weight room area, and they were gonna be utilizing the. It could be me, I just wanna, do you know, Stacy, if we had an updated footprint?
Yep.
We didn't at council, okay, okay,
We-
I'm trying to balance it in my mind of what,
You're right, yeah, but it was discussed, in all fairness, we would discuss the fact that standalone, and that was really clear to me, and that's why they shared washroom for the fitness facility in the library, so that cut back quite a bit of cost.
It's basically got rid of 2 bathrooms, like, so you can, in your
I
mind,
do
you can say
recall
that the
that.
gym doesn't have it, because they're sharing with you.
okay, and in this, we have an accessible washer. A universal, washer. Okay. Okay. And if I can get a mover and a seconder to acknowledge receipt. Moved by Counselor Peter Kistenmaker, second by Counselor Belinda Kistenmaker. Any further discussion on the report? And I guess I just want to know, when is the next report coming back of what we had discussed just now? Will that come back after budget or
It can come back for budget.
for budget?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have with budget.
Okay,
To clarify, sorry.
yes, go ahead.
I believe so the October budget meeting is generally operational and then the November one, I believe, is generally capital. So, but Richard, maybe you can advise.
Yeah, I
Or-
think Manuela and I need to talk about that. Which we are going to try and promote or put forward first. We haven't really made that decision.
Okay. Okay, if there's no further discussion on that, I, put the acknowledged to, or I have to read it. I did get a mover and a seconder, right?
Yes.
Okay, be it resolved that council does hereby acknowledge receipt of the ISIP Arena project report as provided by the Economic Development Officer. Those in favor? Okay, thank you, Stacy. Okay, 11.4 is public conduct policy. Go ahead, Counselor.
Yeah, Mayor, through you, just a point of order, I like to see this referred, I personally do. It's a major documentation. I like to study, analyze it. I read it, I did not analyze it. And I think it's unfair to myself or anybody else. I would really respectfully ask.
Yeah, and I think that was the intent,
Yeah.
was
Okay,
they're on
thank you.
here if we
Yeah.
were ready to pass,
Okay,
but we can
thank
have
you.
them for the next meeting.
Yeah, so I think I said that as part of my report
Okay.
earlier in the meeting.
Understood.
Yes, absolutely. This policy and the reserve and reserve fund policy. Also, my preference would be for council to take it and to read through it. And
Thank you.
we prepared it, should council wish to do it this evening, but definitely does not have to be this evening. I want council to really have a good grasp on it and understand. And if you have any questions at all, between now and the next meeting, please email me, call me, come see me, any of the above.
Okay, so then, we need a motion to defer then, or? Or do we not, or can we just have it on there for information right now?
So if I can make a recommendation, because part of this, if you read part of the recommended
Oh,
resolution,
sorry, yes.
is, to invite the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing to provide council training.
I would like to, I would still like to do that, so if we could maybe just change the resolution, not to approve the policy, but to invite the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing to provide some training to us.
Okay, but, so we should have that training after we have the new counselor too then?
Yes.
Yeah, that would be
Okay.
good.
Okay, so how are we changing this?
So I would just get rid of the first,
This one here?
and then I would get rid of the further in.
Okay, be it resolved?
Yep.
Okay,
And then what we will do is defer, because it is on here as a bylaw for, actual, like,
okay, so
Official
we'll
approval?
do that.
so we
Okay.
can defer that.
Okay, so the first, 11.4. I have taken out the first be it resolved completely. And then the second, portion is instead of further, it just be it resolved. And then that way it gives, Manuela direction to set up that training.
Yeah.
So if I can get a mover and a seconder for that, please. Moved by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker, second by Councillor Dragos Panic. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of Township of Hornepayne invites the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing to provide council training specifically on code of conduct refresher and governance and rule clarity. Those in favor? And that is carried.
And, Manuela, you had wanted to get potential dates, yes?
Yes.
Okay,
Could we? Yeah, please, if council can provide me with a couple dates, I mean, I can see if I can coordinate with any of them
Ideally for after, a new council member is.
after October 28th. Yeah,
okay, do you want those dates now or
sure, if you have them available.
council, are you
Alright.
prepared to give a few dates now?
What time,
Or-
how long does it take?
Probably about an hour.
Okay.
I would think.
We'll say 2 if you have questions.
We want to do it with the budget meeting
I have no problem doing that.
on October 29th.
If they are
October what?
available.
What is-
right on
October
the
29th with the budget meeting.
Okay. That's at 6 as well, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have a follow-up question with regards to the training.
yeah, go ahead.
I imagine and just want to confirm that this training will be held in a closed session, yes?
all training
Uh,
is self-held. No,
No,
it's
I don't
MMA,
think
but
it's
they might
MMA.
be
This
able
isn't-
to, yeah.
Yeah, this is free. I don't think,
Yeah.
I would talk to them.
I will ask them,
They
will
might have a
confirm.
reason why they would put it in closed, but
but I think.
we're not, like, they're not paying. It's a
So-
service, you know what I mean? It's not like they're keeping
Yeah,
capital on it,
part
but
of-
there might be question period or
That's-
something.
yeah, part of, why education periods may be held and closed is for one,
Yeah.
third-party proprietary information, but in addition is for council to have the ability to ask questions without.
Your reprisal.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
so,
I'm good, council, whichever MMH says how to use this, I have no problem either way. Like,
I like to have it open,
open, okay.
100%.
I would like to find
Nothing
out
about it.
because there might
Yes.
be something we're missing that they're
Yeah.
gonna say, we can do,
Part of it or something.
yeah, it's, like, I don't know, like.
I don't either, but I think it's
So-
crucial to have it
Okay.
open,
Yeah,
if possible.
yeah.
Okay, I
perfect.
have that in my notes.
I just wanted to clarify.
Okay, and I did all of what was needed for that, right?
Yes.
Okay. 11.5 fencing, 19 Becker Road. Oh, did we get, okay, we did pick the 29th. Oh my
Mhm.
goodness,
Yeah.
my brain is not following everything.
If it's available.
Okay, Dwayne, did you want to speak to your report?
There's not really much else to add, I did the energy fencing, we've been doing this for many, many years, making them way cheaper than everybody else.
Okay, I open up the floor for any comments from council.
I agree with the, public works manager.
Go ahead, Councilor Stanek.
Many years ago, MG Fencing came and installed their, home run fence at down center field. Even though it was a bog, they did an outstanding job. It was a small little problem, they came back, repaired it, great company, if it's the same owner, great company.
Okay, the only, question I had about it was the SDR had, recommended that we put a different type of fencing on our current public works yard to make it more pleasant and aesthetically pleasing. And I'm just wondering, like, what the cost would be to upgrade to that and just do it once? Do you know what I'm talking about? It was one of the recommendations that we, basically, before we can put a property standards bylaw, we gotta be taking care of our own. And, the question was with the chain link fencing, because if it was in our property standard bylaw and we were following it, we could get, some of the commercial owners to follow it. To make it, so you can't see what's in behind it. I don't know if it was, I can't remember the material, but it was a recommendation given to,
Is it fine? Not fine, no?
I'm not sure, go ahead.
Yeah,
So,
it's-
yeah,
I'm not sure terminology, it's a tarp. They interwove the type in between the
Is
fencing,
that,
weave type tarp.
is
And
that
you
would
see
be
that
considerably
by
more
North Bay area.
expensive?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's like the privacy, you mean, like in,
Mhm.
like,
Can't
yeah,
see
you,
it.
yeah,
It's
you,
Yeah,
in
I
the
don't-
chain link, right?
That's correct, yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think ours was for privacy, I think it was for aesthetics,
Well,
and I'm not gonna
It's
say
same
that
thing
that's not aesthetic.
privacy, aesthetics, you can't see in, bottom line.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, cause you're thinking you can't see what's in behind it, so
That's
that's
correct.
more aesthetically pleasing.
Exactly,
Okay, I'm thinking of the fence itself. It's
Okay.
not aesthetically pleasing.
I think we should be able to see in behind because for security and safety, you wanna know what's going on that property when you're on the outside of that fence.
yeah, if I was gonna steal something, it'd make it a lot easier if I had my private fence. That
Yeah.
people won't see me.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know we had recommendations on it.
They quoted on barbed wire and we chose no for that one, so.
Oh my goodness, the tree, I think it's the water treatment plant,
Yeah.
Excuse me.
or the sewer plant, I think.
Did you, wasn't that once at the township too?
Oh, it still is there.
That's barbaric.
Keeps people out, keeps you honest.
We jumped the fence yet.
Oh my goodness, I lost the report. So,
I'm sorry, I have to say.
just a second, I gotta get back down to it. Go ahead, Glenn,
And our
sorry, I'm trying to
CI
find the report again.
In our CIP, it must mention what kind of fencing is recommended, or,
Could be the zoning bylaw, so the zoning
zoning
bylaw
law?
has some standards for different areas, so maybe that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, it might be in there.
So there's standards of where the fence needs to be and what, for different areas of town, so we could look into the zoning bylaws for the fence.
I'm just thinking, we are supposed to, be the example. So
Yeah.
I would rather do it right.
Like, I wanna do it, don't get me wrong, Dwayne, I wanna do it. I just wanna make sure it follows what we're gonna expect others, and I know there was one utility type yard that has been brought up several times, and, I totally lost the report. Do we know, does anyone on the council agenda package could tell me the actual page of the report? I'm at 250.
198, 200,
198?
198 to 200.
Okay. Okay, I think I kept starting at 2 something. Okay, so are we going to double check our bylaws, our own bylaws on it? before we commit to it, or
Um,
how do you want, what do you want to move forward? Go ahead. Kim.
I have the SDR open. And all that it says is barrier fencing and landscaping.
My preference would be. I think it's important to secure the property. I think it's important to be able to see through the fence. I think we're gonna be moving in there fairly soon. We don't want transports pulling in when we maybe have a piece of equipment coming out.
Mhm.
I think we need to get it up. We need to put something on the fence to let the transports know it's there, like some kind of a flagging system for a few months, because they are accustomed to pulling into there. But other than that, I think it's important that we protect that new asset.
Okay,
Just my recommendation.
sorry. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Jane.
Use the lawn as the equipment.
That's a good point.
Property there.
Okay. Very good.
And to back what I was just saying, when everything was finalized with the transfer. These things saying no parking, no
Yeah.
trespassing, and put flag tape across so you couldn't miss it. I'm colorblind and it stuck with like a sore thumb to me. And I'm driving to work the next morning, see a transport partner and they drove right over top of it.
Yeah, let's put a lot of flags on a new fence then.
Yeah, they flattened it.
I'm sure we all noticed that going
Oh my
by.
God.
Put reflective signs so in the dark they can see.
Yeah,
Everyone's
that's
driving
probably a
through.
good idea.
Okay, if I can make a mover and seconder then, please. Moved by Counselor Peter Kissinger, second by Counselor Dragus Bennett. Be it resolved that council awards the contract to install chain link fencing in Group 19 Becker Road at M&G Fencing Incorporated. All in favor? And that is carried. Okay, 11.6 is the draft reserve and reserves funds policy.
So again, just a draft that we can bring back to the next meeting, but I wanted to get it started before we went into budget talk. So both the report and the policy is there for council to review. Please take the time in the next couple of weeks to review it, and we'll bring the motion to adopt it back to the next meeting. If you have any questions, concerns, want to talk to me about it again, call me, email me, come see me.
Okay, yeah,
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
Manuela just felt that it was important to have prior to budget discussions, so she wanted to make sure that there was a draft on this so that everybody could.
Okay, sounds good. Any questions on that? And just one question, when we do bring it back with to pass, will you note any of the questions or what?
Absolutely.
So that we keep
Yep.
that out in the open?
On
what-
either policy,
Yeah,
absolutely.
okay, great. Okay, well, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry about that.
Yep.
Hard copy, I just sort of.
Okay,
turned
yeah,
over.
no worries.
Really
Oh,
crucial.
does anybody else want a hard copy while
Yes,
I'm
please.
printing?
12.1, we're on to bylaws and we're getting to the end of our meeting, so I'm going to power through if everyone's okay with that.
We are not yet on to one.
Oh, we are not? What did I miss?
11.7.
Oh, I'm on my old agenda. I knew that
I'm
was gonna
sorry.
happen. I picked it up for those notes. Sorry, guys.
Yes, okay.
I did. Sorry about that. I knew that was gonna happen. I put it on the floor and then picked it up for those notes. Okay, 11.7, sorry. Appointment of council member to the Community Development Advisory Committee, CDAC. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Peter Kissinger, second by Councillor Drago Spence. Whereas through resolution number 2023-117, Councillor Ted Shannon, Councillor Drago Spence, and Stacy Randell, Economic Development Officer, were appointed to the Community Development Advisory Committee, CDAC, and whereas Councillor Ted Shannon has resigned from council, thus leaving an empty seat on CDAC. Therefore, be it resolved that council does hereby appoint to the Community Development Advisory Committee, CDAC. Go ahead, Peter.
Would you like to wait until after the new counselor starts?
I thought you were.
I won't put my.
No, I think we need to have a meeting and get that moving and rolling, cause that HGTV is going to be happening. And there's some issues that need to be addressed, like the CDAC, so.
You can put my name in.
Linda?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so Counselor Belinda Kistemaker. And I have no problem if council wants to, after we have our new council member, to look at that, cause we have, Counselor Kistemaker sitting on two, but, you know, if we wanna look at that, but it's gonna be a pretty demanding role when you come in midway into council. Okay, so, therefore be it resolved, and I've added Belinda Kistemaker's name, and those in favor, and that is carried.
Can I
Yes,
make a
go ahead.
request?
Yeah.
Can I have copies of the minutes?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, now we're on to bylaws. Thank you for that, Jim.
No problem.
Okay, 12.1 is tax ratios. Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Counselor Peter Kistemaker, second by Counselor Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that bylaw number 216525 being a bylaw to establish the tax ratios for the corporation of Township of Hornepayne for the year 2025 be hereby read a first and second time, be considered read a third time, and finally pass. Okay, these are the ones we're rescinding, right?
Well,
Or,
we're, passing the new one, and in passing the new one, it repeals the.
okay. I was confused. Those in favor? And that is carried. And bylaw number 216625, 2025 tax rates. Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Counselor Greg Stanek, second by Counselor Peter Kistemaker. Be resolved that bylaw number 216625 being a bylaw to establish a point in time cutoff for all property classes and to fix the rates of taxation for all property classes for the year 2025 be hereby read a first and second time, considered read a third time, and finally passed. And this puts us, basically reverts us back to where we were before. The other meeting, okay.
Yep.
Those in favor? That is carried. 12.3, council vacancy policy. Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Counselor Peter Kistemaker, second by Counselor Drago Stanek. Be resolved that bylaw number 216725 being a bylaw to adopt a council vacancy policy and repeal bylaw number 1542 be hereby read a first and second time and be considered read a third time and finally passed. I do have one discussion on that item. I just thought it. Did we put a clause in here of when this will be looked at again?
At minimum, once per term of council.
1%, okay. Oh,
Minimum.
okay. Those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, 12.4, and that's going to be deferred. So we need a mover and a seconder to defer. Moved by Counselor Drago Stanek, second by Counselor Peter Kistemaker. Be it resolved that bylaw number 216825 is deferred to our
Next available.
next available regular meeting of council or meeting. I'll just
Yeah,
put meeting,
yeah,
so
next
if it
available
wasn't
meeting.
special. Okay, those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, and we have, to adopt, no, sorry, Fire Protection Services Reimbursement Program. Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Counselor Belinda Kistemaker, second by Counselor Peter Kistemaker. Be it resolved that bylaw number 216925 being a bylaw to enter into a fire protection services reimbursement transfer payment agreement between the corporation, the Township of Hornepayne, and His Majesty the King of Right of Ontario, as represented by the Office of the Fire Marshal, provision of fire protection services in eligible unincorporated areas of Ontario be hereby read a first and second time, considered read a third time, and finally passed. Go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to speak to this quickly. So recently, I can't remember if it was in August or September, but council passed essentially the same bylaw. But the Office of the Fire Marshal has reached out with an updated one for this year. So this is just to replace that one. But I just wanted to clarify if anyone is confused as to why it's brought back.
Okay,
It's just update.
housekeeping.
Pretty much.
Okay, those in favor? And that is carried. Bylaw number 217025. Appoint a chief financial officer. Mover and seconder, please. Moved by Counselor Peter Kistemaker, second by Counselor Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that bylaw number 217025, being a bylaw to appoint a chief financial officer for the corporation of the Township of Hornepayne, be hereby read a first and second time, and be considered read a third time, and finally passed. Those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, motions and notice of motions. I don't have any paperwork on that. 14 is adjournment confirmatory, moved by Counselor Peter Kistemaker, second by Counselor Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that bylaw number 217125, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at their regular meeting held on October 8, 2025, be hereby read a first and second time, considered read a third time, and finally passed. Those in favor? That's carried. And to adjourn, moved by Counselor Dragos Panic, second by Counselor Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that council does hereby adjourn this regular meeting of council held on Wednesday, October 8, 2025 at 8:16 PM. Those in favor? And that is carried.
Good job.